welcome to week 3 of Gritty Grace of Motherhood Mondays. My name is Bree. If you haven't seen before, I've posted 2 other videos last week and the week before about patience and postpartum depression. You can feel free to go check those out. The link for the book, if you are interested, is Gritty Grace of Motherhood by Bree Picard. The link again down below. Check all that out. But you don't need the book to follow along today. Today we are talking about another postpartum thing. Like I said last video, we got to keep going down the down train before we head on up, right? So we're still heading down the down train, but I hope that this is encouraging for you. Today we're talking about postpartum anxiety. I have already done the disclaimers last video. I'm not going to repeat them, but so if you're interested in that, go to the previous video. But I didn't know that postpartum anxiety was even a thing with my third. Had no idea. That was a ride that I still occasionally am riding. And my third child is 5. So there's that. But all that is to say, I didn't know postpartum anxiety was a thing. Had no idea. So that was. So we'll get a little bit deeper into that, even deeper than I do in the book, because I wanted the book to focus mostly on the lesson. So I'll do a little bit of explaining after, but I'm going to get into reading. It's a short little bit that I'm reading today. So this is Finding Calm in the Chaos. I took a deep breath, but the sound of blood in my ears grew louder as I stepped over toys while attempting to cook a meal I had no desire to eat. My infant son's scream shrilled above the din of my 2 older children's race through our small apartment. A band around my chest constricted, and I found it difficult to breathe. White noise grew, and I soon no longer heard my older children. I rested against the sink. Why wouldn't my lungs work? My mind knew I wasn't suffocating, but where had all the air gone? The sound of my heartbeat grew louder, and my hands shook. Soon I couldn't hear my infant son's screeches. Tears poured down my cheeks as I fell to the floor sobbing. The only thing I could discern in the midst of the noise was my silent cry, "Lord, help." I remember this day vividly. I could tell you what the weather was doing. I could tell you whether my lights in my kitchen were on or off. I can tell you where the toys were. I can tell you what it felt like to have the handles of the cupboard against my back as I leaned back on it. It's a memory that I don't think I'll ever forget. And frankly, I hope I never do. Because it is a reminder of just how much is out of our control. Postpartum depression is one thing. It's so talked about. It's not, but it is, everybody's aware of it, but postpartum anxiety is not talked about. It's lumped in with depression, and it's very different in my case anyway. It's individual, but it was very, very different. This was also around the time too, fun fact, that my husband decided that he wanted to start having barbecues for the kids' birthdays. My oldest was old enough now that he was realizing his birthday was coming. Just giving him cake on his birthday was not going to cut it anymore. So he wanted friends to come. And my third was born in August. My oldest birthday was in October, tail end of August. So it was not even 3 months postpartum. And my husband decided he wanted to do barbecues where he wanted our kids to have friends, which yes, and we had friends and we wanted to invite them all out, but there were a lot of kids, a lot of people. And for me, normally before having my third, this would be a non-issue, but after having my third, this was a source of genuine panic, where I felt like I couldn't breathe and my brains just took off. What if I say the wrong thing? What if they no longer want to be my friends? What if they run away? What if I suddenly lose all my friends because I opened my mouth and did something wrong? What if my house isn't clean enough? What if this, and the circle continues. The other thing that would happen was I would be in panic, like tears, hyperventilating, panic, until the first person arrived. First person that arrived, thankfully, was one of my good friends, and she actually asked me how I was doing, and I looked at her and I said, "Well, 5 minutes ago before you arrived, I was in tears." And she goes, "Yep, I get it." And it was so nice having that. But so the rest during the barbecue, I was fine. All things considered, I was functioning. I was okay. The second that I gave myself permission to come up to our apartment and be done with the barbecue, right? I had cleaned up. Everything was brought up. I was now in cleanup mode. I went into the bathroom and had yet another panic attack, thinking, oh, what did I say the wrong thing? And cycle continues, right? And it was so out of my control. Normally, like even with, like I said, with my second earlier, my postpartum depression with my second, I could compartmentalize. I thought that would be the case with my third. Absolutely not. It was totally different. And there was nothing I could do about it. It was like my body and my mind and my emotions were just, it's like somebody had whipped the horse and the horse was gone. And there was nothing I could do about it. I was just dragging and bouncing behind. And in this, it made me realize that no matter what I do, I can't control anything. Compartmentalizing wasn't working. All my coping mechanisms weren't working. Everything that I was striving for and trying for was not working. The control was gone. So how do we deal with life when we are a mom and our job is to take care of our children and raise our children and teach them to be functioning adults and have control over their faculties, potty training, control of their faculties, eating properly, with their fine motor skill. That's all control to some degree, and it's necessary control, right? You when you're an adult, if you're perfectly if you don't have any other health issues or what have you, you should be able to go to the bathroom. You're not going to still be in a pull-up, right? That's the general idea. And it's all about having control over oneself. So that way we can function with other people. But what happens when that control is stripped away? And you realize that realistically, you actually have no control over yourself, over your emotions, over your mind, over how you react to things. It becomes gut punch, instinct, fight or flight at all times. And you realize that the only way to have control over yourself is to give up control over yourself. You can't do it. You can't. When you're in that kind of a state, you cannot give it up. You can't control it. The only thing that you can do beyond going to therapy or what have you, beyond those choices, the only thing realistically that you can do is give control to the only one who knows you and the only one who can control you. And that would be God. When you give control over to Him, when you say, all right, He will enable you to ride the wave and survive. He will enable you to come out of the trough and come into the light. He will enable you to find the eye of the storm. He will guide you there. That is the only way that I managed to function. That and being aware. Once I was able to be aware of what was happening, I could see the signs coming. But the only way I could learn how to do that was through praying, God, point this out to me. Help me, give me clarity. Insert you into my frazzled self. Give me that clarity so that way I can see what the signs are. So I know the day before now, for the most part. I know the day before I'm going to have an overwhelmed day. And it's with God's help that I'm able to do that. And with His clarity. He's the one who will show me, you're having an overwhelmed day. You weren't paying attention. And then I can have grace for myself. I immediately have more patience for my kids. It's only with His guidance that I'm able to do that. So that is my challenge. Once again, be aware of what's going on in your mind. And realize you don't have control. You only have the illusion. And at any point in time, that control can go. So why not practice in the everyday mundane? Going, all right, God, what do I do? And letting Him point out the areas and the things you need to do. He knows what needs to be done. He knows what the priorities are. He knows what His priorities are, and He'll align His. And you'll still get stuff done. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. Again, if you want a copy of the book, link down below, Gritty Grace of Motherhood. If you're interested, go back and check the other weeks. We got 2 more, 3 more. There's 7 chapters. How many have I done? There's a few more. Check back next week. Love y'all. Bye.